All right, sorry if I worried anybody, but I just was busy for, the holidays and everything, with Thanksgiving happening over here in the States. So I wasn't really able to find a time to upload because, busy seeing family and friends and all that good stuff. But I did want to go ahead and cover now that I'm back the new buffs that we got. Now, I'm sure everybody's already seen the stuff for Zenobia and for the Trunk sisters. The only thing I know about these is that Zenobia's is apparently not the greatest, but they got a really strong buff, and we just got, I'm not even going to try to pronounce her name, but it's the Tomboy Archer. This lady, we do have it in game. We did see that it is an NP upgrade, but it's obviously not here on the wiki, but I do have it translated. So I did want to go ahead and just kind of give my thoughts on these different buffs and just kind of like look at them, because I really have not been able to even like log into these games. I have been so busy with the holidays. So, let's just start getting into this. I'm really excited because Zenobia is one of those characters that I really like using. I mean, even though she's not like the greatest farming servant, I still pretty much force her to do looping over on the JP side of things. Not the worst, I guess. I mean, her damage isn't the greatest, but hey, you just follow it up with crits, it's just that simple. So I don't know what they could give her that would, be that bad, because realistically, if you give her anything that allows her to do even just a tiny bit more damage, if you want to use her as a looper, or you just make her a little bit more viable in CQs, maybe it's something along the lines of like, I don't know, buff removal resistance, or some kind of debuff immunity, something like that, because she can already make stars, she can already crit pretty decently hard because she stacks the crit damage. And then what she has, I think it's the King Power mod? I think, yeah, she's pulled up over here. I haven't pulled up the skill, but yeah, it's against Kings over here. So she's already got like good stuff going. It's kind of unfortunate it's not this one. I mean, a battery would be nice, but again, like, you can get by looping with her. Okay, they did buff the second skill. Okay, wait, okay, what do we get? Oh, man, because what I was gonna say is that, like, oh, with her like refunding skill, where is it? Oh, it's literally the skill. But like with the refund here, she can actually get some pretty decent NP back to the point where she can kind of get by with farming. You're probably gonna have to plug suit in people and maybe manage your Castoria's batteries, maybe use a starting charge CE, depending on the node you're going into, but you can make it work. So I was like, maybe if she gets an immediate battery, she could be kind of good, but yeah, this is nice going into fights, but the problem with a lot of these on guts things is that, you want them to maybe be like soloers. Think of somebody like Herc or Tyra. They have really good on guts procs, or even King Hassan. They have these really strong on guts procs because they're the only people you're pretty much going to be using. You're going to use them to solo stuff, so you can reliably get those to activate. This is a very powerful effect, giving the entire party 20% battery. I mean, think of the art supports you're going to use with her. You want to use Castoria, Tamamo, Zhufu's even very strong, Lady Avalon, very good. We're in no shortage of good art supports that would love to get additional battery to just keep their NPs flowing more consistently. But because she is somebody that you don't really want to use as a soloer, it's going to be really hard to kind of get her guts to proc consistently. I mean, she doesn't even have like a taunt or anything along those lines where you could maybe try to plan for it. And her as a soloer, I mean, you're wasting the fact that you're charging the entire party's gauge. If it's going to be something for a solo servant, wouldn't you rather this be like a 50% battery? Or when this procs, she gets, I don't know, just mondo damage. She gets an insane arts buff, a big NP damage buff, something along those lines. But this is, I can see why it was said, hey, dude, don't get your hopes up for this one. It's not really all that great. Yeah, this kind of changes nothing in fact, it literally changes nothing for Zenobia. If you were someone like me who was like, she's got a very good personality, just great character design, right? You want to use her for farming for those reasons, you can still make it work. Nothing changed. She didn't get increased damage, so it's not easier for her to get through nodes. You're probably gonna have to rely on face cards with the crits and everything, which again, like I mentioned, isn't the worst because you're stacking 50% crit damage. So by wave 3, 150% crit damage after 3 stacks, you're probably gonna eviscerate whatever you're hitting with the face cards. That's no problem, but it's not the best. It doesn't make her any better for that. It gives her like some weird ability. It's kind of like, what is it, Andromeda, where Andromeda has a passive skill that whenever her guts is proc, she gets like 10% attack permanently or something along those lines. I know it's like 10% attack for 3 turns. It's just something you're probably not going to see. They gave that to a servant that's like super defensive. is kind of the opposite problem over here, and that she's not a super tanky servant, but she's someone that wants to be paired with supports, which they understood by making it a party-wide NP gauge, but it's on gut. It's just, man, that just really sucks to see, man. That's super unfortunate. At least we get like what, Saint Quartz out of it because it's an interlude. You know, it gives you, you know, more progress towards your missions to get the 10 Saint Quartz. I guess that's the best way to think about it. Sure. The Trunk Sisters, this one, okay, maybe I can lift myself up on this one because this one I did hear was rather good. And this is a servant that I do think is pretty much like on that borderline of just being a pretty solid servant. They could be really good if they got a solid buff. As far as what they would want, it's kind of weird. They're competing with the Dioscuri twins, who just have everything. Like, they just keep giving themselves with their most recent buffs, so they're just ridiculously good. So what they could give them, it's either going to be they get more damage to compete with the Dioscuri twins, so like maybe they're the more damaging of the two, or it's going to be party utility like they were trying to give to Zenobia, but maybe it's successful, right? Like, you use it with Castoria. Is it going to be like charging battery? Is it going to be like we don't get our debuffs removed or something like that? That's kind of a Castoria and Lady Avalon weakness. I don't even know what skill this is on. Let's just, let's just go for both. Let's click second skill again. It's not the second skill. Okay, so probably not damage. Probably going to be utility skill because her third skill is the guts, right? Yeah, it's the... No, it's not the guts. This is the guts. They don't have guts. What am I talking about? I'm talking craziness over here. But, yep, remove party or increase debuff or... buff removal resistance. Sorry. Been a long couple of days with the holidays, but... Okay, 100%. I was like, please tell me they give it 100%. But okay, that would have been ridiculous. So they do that, and they overcharge the party's NP stage by 1 for 1 time for 3 turns. Okay, so the Immortal Team comp now has a new composition where you can use Lady Avalon, or I guess you could still use Merlin if you were so inclined to do so, plus Castoria and her. It's just kind of like the Morgan setup. Not as good, because Morgan can consistently do it on her NP with, excuse me, Trunk Sisters is going to be tied to their skill cooldown, but hey, maybe that means you want to use Tamamo in there, get those skill cooldowns going. Unironically, not bad, because Tamamo's overcharge is also refunding the entire party's NP gauge. And I mean, you don't want to lose any of your Castoria buffs. Seems like it could be pretty good. Probably going to be the best with like Lady Avalon and Castoria, but this is how you do it. This is how you make a servant good. So the Dioscuri remain, the better single target damaging option. But if you need some extra utility, which I'm not going to spoil anything for like Lost Belt 7 and stuff, but bosses are getting more and more annoying. I mean, going through Ordeal Call 3 was a slobber knocker, dude, because those bosses are tough. It's not even like Lost Belt 7 where I'm like, oh, they're annoying, and some of the Lost Belt 6 fights are hard. 3 is just, bro, you're just in for the ringer. These are some fights. 1 and 2, I guess, weren't the worst, I guess, but they're just beefy, especially in like Ordeal Call 1, where it's like, yeah, this guy's just gonna have like 2 million HP. You gotta actually just beat this guy. It's like, all right, you gotta beat up some tough dudes, which I guess they're preparing us for with the not memorial, but what are they called? I guess they're memorial quests, whatever they're called. Someone in the comments would be like, CTL, you're dumb. They're called X, Y, and Z. They're functionally memorial quests. They're rerun quests, all right? But regardless, for these fights, this is very, very good. This is very strong. Unfortunately, not really a good, say, Himiko option for Ards, where you can maybe take advantage of stuff like the crit, not the crit damage. Never mind. What am I talking about? I'm being stupid. All right. I was gonna say you can't take advantage of the extra crit damage, but it's crit resistant. So never mind. Just disregard that. I'm being stupid. I'm being dumb. They're fine. They're really good. Let me stop while I'm ahead. Very, very strong buff. It's good. Let's move on to I'm just gonna call her Tomboy Archer. So it's an NP upgrade. We know that from over here that it's gonna be an NP upgrade, which means we're not awaiting anything else. I mean, I hope it's a cool interlude at the very least. It's like some cool character that we get more lore on. I'm always down for stuff like that. But I did slide this into Google Translate and I haven't read it yet. So obviously she's going to be getting some more damage with the NP upgrade. Nothing changed except for the ability to bomb stars. How many stars is this? Can I check Game Press? Their Discord is usually on point with this stuff. So let me see. Do we know how many we're getting? 20 crit stars. She doesn't remove the buff success rate. I don't like that they do that for servants, by the way. Like, why do you give servants demerits just to remove them? Super strange. Super weird, but okay, good. It's just like Jean stunning herself, where it's like, why did she have that? I get it was year one, but good that you remove that. Just stop making servants that have like random demerits in them. You know, it's just different video for a different day. But so, okay, so she can actually start proccing stuff like the additional NP damage on her NP, because 500% chance to remove own buff success rate is crazy. And then additional stars. Hey, that's good. You can actually take advantage of the critical damage you're going to be doing. And her being a buster servant that can fund her own stars, I know Merlin and Koyanskaya exist, so it's like, oh, well, Merlin provides constant flows of stars, and Koyanskaya provides stars on demand with her second skill. But it's still good to just have this in your base kit. It means your supports have to baby you a little bit less. This is just so baffling. Because I'm looking at these two, these are solid buffs, man. Like, this just complements her kit. She's actually just a really solid servant now, right? Like, she's just good. You know, you can actually build up buff success rate and do some very good damaging turns with getting 40% additional NP damage with, I mean, you could plan this out for some CQs and maybe plug it in an Oberon and just do a more billion amount of damage. But what is going on with Zenobia? Why am I specifically being targeted, right? Some people might say, look, I'm being targeted because a specific servant that I like didn't get a buff. But me, I think it is worse. I think this is worse when you actually get a servant you like getting a buff, and then it's just nothing. It's just, it literally doesn't change anything at all. Like, I can't think, like, what if they gave Morgan a buff where it's like, what would even be bad for her to get? She increases, like, quick attack resistance by 10%. It's like, but even that technically makes her slightly more bulky. Like, it just doesn't do anything. Because even, say, if, like, Morgan got something like this, she's a berserker. Her guts will proc with some regularity because she's just getting hit really hard. If you've ever used her, you know she can get hit pretty hard. So it's like, at least with that, it can proc. But you're using Zenobia against Sabers, someone that she resists damage from. How often are they going to be taking her out? Aside from, like, NPs and stuff, you're going to have to, like, plan and be like, well, hopefully Zenobia is the only person that gets blasted. But the way that art supports work is that Castoria gives you targeted invincibility. She gives you solemn defense for the entire party. You know, Lady Avalon gives the entire party invincibility. You have to plan in some weird way for this to trigger. It's just, it's not good. It's just not good at all. So sad to see. So sad. This is, I was going to say not a Merry Christmas because we're moving into, we're getting into the Christmas season, but I guess technically can't accuse them of all that because, you know, not Christmas season. But this, I don't like this. This is mid. This is just terrible. This, maybe the interlude is really interesting. That is my copium, is that maybe the interlude is just really good. It's nice, enriching story. That's all I can really hope for. But these two, these are nice. This I love. It differentiates them from the Dioscuri twins. It gives them a completely different role where they kind of already had this pseudo support role, right? Love it when your supports can kind of give additional, or your DPSs can give additional buffs to your support. Sorry, that was backwards. But now they're doing an even better job of doing that. Like, it's just so clean. They slot in so well into pre-existing arts teams. And then this is just, it fixes the demerit so she can actually do damage. And it's a buster servant giving themselves stars. And she's doing slightly more damage because of the NP upgrade. So, Tomboy Archer, if you love this character, eating. If you are a fan of the Trunk Sisters, eating. If you're someone like me who likes Zenobia, absolutely starving. Terrible. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. If somebody goes down and says, like, no, I actually think the Zenobia buff is good, silence those guys immediately. You know, don't listen to them. They are absolutely out of their minds. But, I mean, yeah, I guess maybe it'll be a cute interlude. I don't know. That's my copium. But with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Regularly scheduled videos coming back now that we're out of the holiday seasons and whatnot. So look forward to that. All the links and everything are down in the description down below. Do all the like, subscribe, YouTube nonsense. I'm going to go to bed. So I'm repeating myself. I'm going to sleep. All right.